Good evening, Super League fans and managers from across the globe. I hope the stream is working. It looks like it is. If you can't see or hear, then please let me know, and I'll try and fix it. I had a bit of a Skype issue. Sorry, well, we had a Skype issue and we also had a streamer issue, but hopefully it's all fixed. And with me in the studio is Jens. Good evening, Jens.
Good evening. Pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you here. So it's a bit of a there's a bit of a Nordic theme to it. Guys, anyone in the comments, if you can please confirm the quality of the stream is acceptable, because in the stream picture that I see, it looks fairly not so great. But yeah, if there's any problems, please put them in the comments, and we'll see if we can fix it. If not, then I'll start off by looking at the table, and our stream looks great. Okay, that's fine. Thanks for confirming, Ryan. Thank you very much. And yeah, Jens, what did you make of the last round? I mean, there was a lot of talk about whether someone else would secure, or how many people would secure that elusive red qualification mark next to their name. But what did you make of the results? I mean, you had a good result yourself, obviously against Churchtown, but Bostock having a big victory. How did you see the midweek results going there?
It was an interesting one. I mean, it was a lot of goals, except from that Gazelles match. I think, yeah, I can see now it was a lot of goals. I was kind of surprised to see Bostock win. I mean, by 4 goals. I think they're next to maybe Leddersford and probably also Gazelles. I think Bostock is the form team of the league, and I think they're gonna win tonight, and that will hopefully make them not so eager to get the 3 points in the last match as they have us. And that it was, I mean, there's no real surprises. Slots is having a kind of a rough time. Hopefully they'll get Roberto back, hopefully for their sake. But yeah, it
Yeah.
will be, of course, extremely interesting to see the last 2 rounds, how it pans out.
Yeah, and what did you make? There was some late drama. I mean, that kind of covers the first four matches, as you say. They're a big surprise for Bostock with that heavy, big surprise is maybe a strong word. Astra are down at the bottom, but a 5-1 win away from home, we don't see that all the time. Your own result, the good one there, Dudley Hill with a red card for good old Håkan there, kind of ruined it a little bit for them. But if we look at Haggis Hunters and Fulchester, there was some last minute drama in both games here. I mean, what did you make of a Lokomotiv Boston Inzaghi securing the point in the last minute despite being down to 10 men? That was a bit of a sucker punch for Hackis Hunters and their kind of playoff hopes, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, but I mean, to be honest, it didn't surprise me one bit. This is what Boston's been doing the whole season, either for 1 point or for three, but they seem to get it done anyways. I don't think they've been smacked more than maybe once or twice. We smacked them one time, and but they stay in the game, and if they're one down, you can bet on them coming back and getting a goal at the end. So
Yeah,
that
they're
didn't surprise
definitely.
me at all. And regarding Fulchester, I mean, that was a tough blow to get that Leddersford goal in the end. But I mean, Leddersford is the form side of the league, and Fulchester were, they played a tight game with them. And I think looking at the remaining fixtures, I think Mac is going to be, no matter what he says, I think he's going to be pretty confident that he's gonna get the 6 points and get the playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, they have, as he probably has mentioned himself, and has been will be very clear. I mean, we can look at the table in a second, but they are awful away from home, and this just kind of epitomizes, I think, their whole season in terms of their away form. They were 2-1 down with 15 minutes to go. Nesta gets sent off, you know, and then you're thinking, wow, maybe they can get something here. Then they get a chance. Michael Owen misses the penalty. He has specified penalty takers for this week, by the way. Michael Owen then misses the penalty. Scholes get a goal. You're thinking, yeah, it's going to be 2-2, and then Fernando Torres pops up with a goal. A little bit unusual. I mean, we can maybe talk about Fernando Torres a little bit. Season one player. I mean, it's really. I'm not sure if I would normally think of Fernando Torres as a season one player at Super League level as well. Are you surprised to see him? I mean, he's 7 goals, 8 games, 3 assists, and a very good average. Are you surprised about that at all?
Yeah, I am very much. I think when you come to like season 6, 7, 8, he's normally one of those
He's full of
that would,
20s, yeah.
yeah, and he will get the, the player of the year, world player of the year, and everything. But I mean, 18 years old, I think he just turned 18. I think it's a surprise, definitely.
Hmm. Yeah,
He has to
three
be the
days
player
three
with
days
the
ago in
best.
in the game. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and he has to be the player with the best goal for game ratio in the league.
Yeah, yeah, and a
That's impressive.
late push for the for the top scorer chart there. Maybe who knows if they get into the playoffs and he continues this run of form. Kessman with a couple of goals, perhaps not a classic game between Northern Burn and the Dragons, but Northern Burn. I mean, they're showing pretty good form. If you discount the first what 15 games of the season or something, they're actually having they're not having a bad season at all now. Northern Burn. I mean, do you expect them to be more competitive next season? I mean, I know Ian has struggled for a couple of seasons with BTEC and now in the first round here with Northern Burn, but do you expect them to be more competitive next season?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't agree with him. I don't agree that they're having a not so bad season. I think they're having a bad season because I honestly, no disrespect to Ian, love the guy, but I think their squad is a top six squad. And I look at their 11, and I think there's a lot of quality there. For me, they're one of the outsiders for to win the whole thing next season. Looking at their
Well,
form, and I mean, there, I think it's a lot of quality there. Maybe if they can get a kind of a more creative midfielder in there, I think there's nothing wrong with that squad at all.
yeah, I was thinking that. I mean, is there a case for? I mean, we can speak about it in more detail when we get to the Northern Burn game. But he's obviously. I mean, I think he'd for this one he'd obviously finally changed it. I mean, he put Robin in there in the central one. I think he played Thierry Henry there for a couple of games as well. I mean, Robin for you, is he best in the AMC role, or would you have him out on a left on in a wide position? I mean, I know you're not a fan. Certainly, from your start to the Super League, you weren't a fan of the wide formations. But I don't know how you see Robin and how to get the most out of him.
No, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever used like a left midfielder and a right midfielder at least for 15 years. So if I play wide, I play with a wing back or a left back and right back. But as a AM, I mean, definitely after a couple of seasons. But yeah, for me, he's a quality player even at 17.
Yeah, well, and we saw that from Fernando Torres that it can definitely happen. So we'll see how they get on next season. I mean, a good push from them, but a little bit too late, unfortunately, to turn the fortunes around. And finally, Devils Gazelles 0-0. Not a particularly interesting game. Sepp Frey getting an 8 man of the match there, despite like having what 5 shots on target. Bit of an anticlimax, to be honest, considering the kind of. I mean, the Devils have been scoring. If you look at the table, they have scored like 2 goals a game average, but they've not had great results recently, have they? I mean, one, two, three, four games since a win, and that was at 5-3 against Sloths. Fifey always plays down his chances. Does he have anything to worry about? Is form going to be critical going into the playoffs? What do you see how do you see that working out for the Devils?
I think the playoff spot is even if it's not a Q next to his name, he's gonna be in the playoffs. And yeah, he's had a little bit of dip in form, but I think the Devils are the team I've watched this season that had the best top level. Like they're the team that's been like brushing other teams aside. And if they can just get a little bit back to that, I mean, get the Pensa going a little bit more than he has the last games. For me, I still have them as favorites because I
Yeah,
think
I
their
mean
top level is the best.
and they have a strong starting 11, don't they? So
Very strong.
let's see what's on offer and what could potentially be decided tonight. So with 2 games left, I mean, Lokomotiv Boston, they aren't secured. I mean, obviously for those who are new to the Australian league and the wonderful league format, it's quite important to be one of the top 2 teams because You get like a semi-final kind of thing, and then even if you lose it, you still get another go at getting to the final, if I remember rightly. So it is quite important to be in the top two. And Lokomotiv Boston, they just need what? They just need to, let's see. I mean, goal difference. I mean, they would need Lattersford to or Devils to slip up, wouldn't they? They would need a 4 point gap, and then they could potentially be guaranteed a top two spot. Apart from that, it's pretty much all to play for. I mean, there's a unless results really work out spectacularly, then there's a decent chance that there's going to be pretty much all to play for in the last round, isn't there? I mean, yourselves on 37 points, you could be on 40 with a chance of getting second, or you could be below the line depending on how the results go tonight. So, what?
Yeah, I think I have to win tonight to have a chance to get in that top six. I think I have Bostock Stanley away the last game, and I in the form they're in, I can't see us getting at least more than a point from there.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. Every team concedes a goal or more a game. Alf points out in the comments. Yeah, that is true. Actually, there aren't any like really sort of excellent defensive teams. I mean, it's mainly down to people's away record. I mean, pretty much everyone concedes on average almost two goals away from home, which is not great. And then if you look at the home records, it's obviously it's a lot less than that. I mean, apart from slots that have some very entertaining games. But let's have a look at the fixtures here. So, it's done that thing where it says that everyone's in 14th and 15th place. Okay, well, we'll continue, and then well, hopefully that will then change. Let's see if we can do it now. Yeah, now we can have a look. Okay, so that's fine. So we've got Bostock Stanley against the Devils. I mean, that is a huge game, isn't it? If Bostock win this, then they are on 41 points and definitely 100% secured in their playoffs, I would say. And then Devils are in trouble in terms of their second place if they lose this one. Leddersford again with a fairly sort of like not easy match. There are no real easy matches in the Super League, but they are playing against Dragons. You know, it should on paper be quite easy. Fulchester need to win. Gazelles and Haggis, that's a big one, isn't it? Whoever doesn't win that one is definitely 100% out of it, due to them being eighth and ninth. Yourselves up against Asta, you're probably hoping for a win considering Asta's recent form, and then Lokomotiv Boston got to win this one to get to secure their top two, and then Sloths and Burn with everything to play for Sloths as well. Um, what's the standout game of the evening for you?
I think the first one, the Bostock Stanley and the Devils match, is huge. I think Gazelles and Haggis is also huge. I think there's two of the squads that were predicted around the top before the season. Gazelles with a win here have a good chance. Their goal difference are really good. So if they win the last two games, I think they're probably gonna make it. And also it's a must win for slots against a very solid Northern Burn.
Hmm.
So a
Hmm.
lot of interesting ones here.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting matchups. I think I was having a look at the actual running order of the games and see what we can do to keep it as exciting as possible. But I think no matter what order we take the games in, then it's gonna be very exciting for everyone involved. I think possibly if we start off with Gazelles and the Haggis Hunters, that might be I think that might be a good place to start, because I don't really want that to be if everyone else above them already win all of their games, then the kind of air goes out of the balloon a little bit for this one. So I think we'll start off with Gazelles against Haggis Hunters, and then we'll just kind of take them in order after that. Top scorer in the league, Dimble, 37 goals, I think. How did Romario end up last night? Oh, this might be a different conversation. I'm I'm not entirely sure what that is. But anyway, let's start off with Gazelles against the Haggis Hunters here, and we'll see what the evening brings. If we don't get any ghost games, obviously, we do have to bear that in mind because that's that's something that has happened in the past. So first of all, let's have a look at a quick look at the Gazelle side. I will just double check. I think Craig went unchanged. I'm going to double check this, and then we'll go into the game before we start talking, so we don't waste 15 minutes talking about a game that potentially isn't going to happen. Let me just double check. Yes. Clover, Dakahawa, Emre, Keane, Jeremy, Stede, Marinho, Pelisoli, Ferdinand, Cafu, It looks okay. Yeah, it's good to go. So let's see, and we'll have a look at Haggis, and Haggis I've definitely done. So we'll see if this one works. Okay, so this one works. So let's talk about it. So let's talk about it as it's not going to be a ghost game. The Gazelles, what a season they've had. It's been up and down for them, and now they're really with the backs against the wall. It's got to be a win for them here. Do you think they have enough on the pitch to beat the Haggis Hunters tonight?
Yeah, I do, but I also like that Haggis lineup. So it will be interesting to see. I think the main problem for Gazelles this year has been, I mean, they've been so like very inconsistent. They've won two or three games, and then they started losing, and then they had to change up, and then they won two or three games, and they started losing. So it's been like two or three wins, two or three losses. So very inconsistent. I think they've been unlucky with injuries as well. I think Figo's been out for a long time, and I'm not quite sure if he found the tactic he really relies on. I don't think this is his first choice tactic. But of course, he's got Raul and Kluivert. Kluivert scoring a lot of goals. Raul is a solid player. One of those that, even though he maybe doesn't put up the numbers that players like Kluivert do, I think he's like he's present on the field. He's gives the team something anyways because of his quality.
Mm.
Um, I like Agahova in that role. I think his wingbacks should have been better this season than they've been. Cafu probably has a good rating, but I mean those two can they should dominate matches more often than they've done.
Yeah, that's true. I
Interesting
mean,
that
they don't, they,
Mourinho.
as you say, they've got a good average, but they haven't really been putting up the huge numbers in terms of assists or even goals or man of the match awards. So they've just been steady more than impressive, which is perhaps what you can say overall for Gazelles. Not steady in terms of because they've been very inconsistent in terms of like sometimes they've completely dominated games and sometimes they've looked completely out of sorts. But sort of like just plodding along and an eighth, and now it's kind of crunch time, and we'll obviously see what they can do. I mean,
Yeah,
he's probably in his strongest starting lineup, maybe apart from Figo, but with Keane and Yaramis in DMC, they're going to be it's going to be difficult to score against them. I think for the Haggis Hunters, but we'll have a look, obviously. Um, Key player for you if you had to pick one player from the Gazelle side.
I need Kluivert to fire. He needs to score goals and win this game.
Yeah, he has got 14 and 19, so we'll see if he can get any goals tonight. Um, Up against the Hackers Hunters, who's dropped Roberto Baggio, who didn't really do particularly well in the two games on that left side of the AMCs. He's got Brosek in there as well. Hofland is back in central defence, and apart from that, it's kind of business as usual for the Haggis Hunters, or what it has been for the last couple of games. Larsson is in there. He's been relying on him getting a couple of goals. Catania has not been done too badly. I mean, desperately needs a striker when you look at the rest of the squad, don't they? Really, in terms of where the gap is, or how do you see it for Haggis Hunters?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's been talk about this all season. He needs a solid number nine that can give him goals. Salas isn't doing it. Catania is in a home save. He's decent, but you're not going to rely on him for the whole season, are you? And I'm sorry, but why did he play Roberto Baggio? He's been talking now for weeks that this season is we're done. We're looking forward to next season, and then you play a 50-year-old striker with one leg instead of Donovan and Brosek. I mean, if they get games, maybe they can contribute next season. So I'm glad to see he's dropped him and put those two young lads up front. I'm also
Yeah,
glad to see Vieira back in the team because I mean it's Vieira.
yeah. I mean, he should really play like every single game. You would presume. Um, yeah, I mean, Catania. Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't want to harp on about specific players because I mean he's played two games and scored two goals, so it's not gone too badly for him, obviously. But interesting to see that he's in there, and interesting to see that Nedved is completely out. He might still be injured, to be honest. If we can have predictions in chat, that would be great, and I'll ask Jens in the meantime who you think is going to run out winners in this one.
I think it's a tough one because I think it can go either way. Two strong sides, but if I would have to put my money on someone, it would be Gazelles. So 2-1 for Gazelles.
Yeah, and Gazelles with a defeat for the Gazelles. I mean, technically there are still teams who could end up on 37 points, so they are not 100% out of it. But Haggis Hunters obviously with a defeat tonight are it's definitely curtains for them. We've got a 2-1 predictions, 2-1 away, 2-1 home, 1-0 away. Yeah, so very tight, very tight in terms of the predictions as well. Few people really liking the Haggis team, so we'll see what happens. But we're gonna kick it off here at the special Superdrome and see if Gazelles can edge a little bit closer to the playoffs, or watch this be a draw. But we'll see. Anyway, let's kick it off. Gazelles against Haggis Hunters, the first game of the evening. Looks as if it's sort of fairly even in terms of the distribution of
Yeah.
chances. Catania with a quick yellow. Oh, and there's Raoul had a goal disallowed on 25 minutes, and it's not a typical Scottish named referee as we sometimes have in these games, where things tend to go Haggis' way. But it's Raoul again. He's not giving up, is he? So that's the opener for the Gazelles. They're 1-0 up, and there is Kluivert,
Oh,
his 15th of the season. Oh, it's going to be an uphill struggle in the second half for Haggis Hunters getting back into this one. Just check, Nedes is still injured, says Ryan. So yeah, Pavel Nedved is still injured. That's a big blow to Haggis. Yeah, as mentioned, they're fairly even. How did you see that first half? Pretty
it's
even, I
effective.
guess.
It's effective, isn't it? It's the difference in the quality of the strikers. It's two goals for Gazelles and three shots on target, and it's no goals for Haggis and three shots on target. I mean,
Yeah,
this has been a problem the whole season.
yeah, yellow card for Catania. That's what he got for his troubles. Iker Casillas not covering himself in glory, and Catania on a 5 there as well. If Ian or Craig are in the comments, I don't know if they are. I don't think I've seen either of them, but if they are, they're obviously welcome to chip in with their substitution requests. I mean, Catania not a single shot on target. Mendieta. I mean, the only people who have shots on target are Kevin Hoffland and Mendieta. I mean,
Yeah, they're not creating anything. I mean, the Vieira is the only player really putting in a shift there. It looks. It's been the same. It's the same as it's been the whole season. I mean, they lack a quality striker.
yeah, not a lot of a killer instinct in there. Ian says Saha for Campbell in the second half. We'll see if that changes things up for them, or brings them any luck. I think
Saha
they're
for
gonna.
Campbell, so Saha's going to take the manager role.
Yeah, no, he's
Maybe
he's
that's
in
not a
here.
bad
He's in here, and we've got Saha coming on. Um, yeah, I mean, as we say, that they're definitely gonna have to improve in the second half. I mean, it's it seems good. Yeah, they're good. They're good players. We're just not, unfortunately, somehow just not getting the most out of him. Haggis will have to up the bid for Shevchenko now, says Alf, if he's if they're looking to do a deal there. I don't know. We'll have a look over at the Gazelle side, and that's what happens when your strikers get the chances instead of your central midfielders. Kluivert and Raoul with 2 shots each. Raoul obviously having that goal disallowed as well. Um, there's got to be some comeback for Haggis if they're going to find a way back to this, isn't it? I mean, look at Roy Keane and Dede and Marinho, though. There could be a yellow card in this for Gazelles as well.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, he's got to hope for a red card, or yeah, I mean, the Gazelles have the better of the half. And Raul and Kluivert are delivering, and Pelizol is doing well in goal. If Keane can stay away from that second yellow card, I think Gazelles have this in their pocket.
Yeah, I mean, Alf says Casillas as 5. That's the difference. Yeah, I mean, to some extent, yeah, I would agree. But I think it's also the difference also lies in the fact that the people who've had the shots for Haggis Hunters are Mendieta, Candela, and Kevin Hoffland, and the people who've had
Yeah.
the chances for Gazelles are Kluivert and Raoul. So they are probably more likely to score. But second half, do you see a way back into this for Haggis Hunters? It's got to be a bit of a miracle, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, I think Gazelles will grind this out. I would love to see Pamadou Ka getting a game though. He's a real legend in Norway, in
Oh
Oslo.
yeah, of course. He's he's a
He's got
Vålerenga
some great
legend.
great stories about him. He played before he played for Vålerenga. He was in Skeid, and he's a came from like a poor place, and every once in a while in training, when they came back from training, all the money were gone from the pockets of the players, and every time that happened, Pamelo Kai invited everyone out for a kebab.
Well, it was it was like the story that I don't know if you saw it with Ravel Morrison the other day, who stole people's boots at Man United or whatever. Oh
uh,
gosh, yeah, yeah.
Absolute legend.
Well, let's see who gets to check the Gazelles. Well, you should put him on the pitch then. I mean, there's no point leaving him in the dressing room if he's going to empty
No, I mean
everyone's
that's a
pockets.
dangerous game you're playing. Play
That's
him or leave
true.
him home.
Let's see what happens in the second half here. A little bit of a background for everyone involved there that perhaps you weren't aware of with regards to your Champman legends. But let's have a look at the second half and see if Haggis Hunters can find a way back into that. Oh, they had a good chance there early on. I mean, they it would really help them along their way if they could get a goal. Larson and Saha both trying there, and Donovan trying now again. They're getting more chances in the second half, but it's really a case of having to take those chances as well. And with
Uh,
only 20 minutes left on the clock, it's going to be tricky unless they get one sort of
Need
fairly
to get one
now-ish.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're trying their best. You can say they see that they are playing for their lives here, playing for the chance in the Super League to take it down to the last day. But with 9 minutes to go, it's looking unlikely. Kluivert coming forward for Gazelles as well, and there he is, Patrick
And there
Kluivert.
is done.
Final nail in the coffin for Haggis Hunter's season there. Unfortunately, Louis Zaha picks one back, and they tried in the second half. Haggis Hunters, they did try, but unfortunately for them, it's curtains for the season, and Gazelles, the dream lives on for them, and the dream of a playoff spot, obviously. Um, what did you make of the second half? A little bit better for Haggis Hunters. I mean, it was a draw in the end, 1-1.
Yeah, I mean as you said, they tried, they were in the game, but I mean that's a brilliant result, isn't it, for Gazelles? And to be honest, it never looked like they were gonna drop points in the second half, even though Haggis were more in the game.
Yeah,
So I think he'll be buzzing with that. I mean, with a win in the last game, I think he's got a very good chance of making it.
yeah, definitely. It could be, depending on how the results go this evening, it could be pretty much in his own hands. I can't really remember the fixtures, but we can have a look at that after. Obviously, we'll end up talking the whole evening if we're going to do that, the maths for each game. So we'll have a look at that later on. We'll have a look and see how Patrick Kluivert's last Saha blasted towards the top corner. Cafu with a cross. We'll see the stats of the Gazelles players in a minute. Um, yeah, still, I mean, the chances, are they falling to the right people? Louis Saha, he came in and really made a difference here with three shots, three on target, and he actually got a goal. Um, it
Larsen and Brosek also getting a shot, at least not on target, but at least it looked like they were more active, those attacking players in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely in with coming in with a couple of chances there, as you mentioned. No assists though for anyone, so still a bit of a one-man job there. And Patrick Vieira doing a solid job in midfield, not getting a man of the match award. That's probably going to Kluivert and his two, but we'll see that in a minute. But good defensive display, kind of, I guess, from Stam and Hofland as well. I mean, they're doing okay. They're just not getting the highest scores. Maybe they are. I don't know if they're missing some interceptions or something like that, but yeah, a bit of a symptomatic for Haggis Hunters and their season, unfortunately. I think fairly solid
Yeah,
without being spectacular, and then a little bit wasteful in terms of what they do with their chances.
yeah. I mean, I think uh, if you look at their squad, defensively they've got so much quality, and when you got Mendieta and Vieira in the center of the park, I mean, if you have a striker that gives you goals, you're going to be higher up the table, aren't you? And I just want to say that I mean, I seem to recall Ian saying, if we can't make it this year, then I'll consider my position as a manager, and I really hope he doesn't, because he's a fantastic character, and we need him in this league, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I think his forfeit could be to do that song that he promised for so long anyway, but we'll see what we'll see what he comes up with. Hopefully not a resignation. I don't like anyone resigning, to be honest. I mean, it's nice to get guys like yourself and other new people in, but I prefer people to stick around, obviously.
Obviously.
Goal difference is worth a point for the Gazelles. Very well spotted there, Mr. Mega Horse. They definitely have a good goal difference compared to many of the teams around them. And what do you make of Patrick Kluivert making a late push for the top scorer award here for the Golden Boot in the Super League? Good game for him there, and if they can get into the playoffs, maybe he can catch a Pensa.
Seeing as I actually had Kluivert, it's I'm not sure if I can say I like it. I think he's been brilliant the whole season. He's not one of my favorites in the game at all, and I swapped him for Tsigalko, I think, who's
Hmm.
been not near Clover's level. No, but yeah, look, I mean, look at those ratings. That's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah,
Striker
solid,
scoring just
solid
solid all over the
performances, and then
field.
just one or two standout players. And as we mentioned, they're getting a little bit more out of guys like Cafu. Cafu coming in with an assist here. They're definitely giving themselves a chance for the last round, aren't they? So yeah,
They are.
strong performance there. And Patrick Kluivert is Patrick Vieira is not going to be in the playoffs, which is a little bit of a yeah, it's not great.
It isn't. Can you just give me 1 minute?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Thank you. I'll be back
Um,
soon.
I will have a look at Patrick Kluivert in the meantime with his 14 goals in 19 games, and I will also have a look at the next game that we're going to have this season. And I think we're just going to go back to the top. So we're going to go Bostock Stanley against the Devils. And while we wait for Jens to come back, I will double check the squads and make sure that we haven't made any kind of minor issues or mistakes here. Let's check the Devils first. We've got Dwight York leading the front line. Kuhl, Mackay, Ferguson, Jenny Van Bronckhorst, and the rest of the boys is as it should be. So we're good to go for the Devils. And then we've got Bostock Stanley as well, quickly confirming them. Who in the comments predicted that Dwight York would be starting tonight? I'd be very interested to find out who had that one down. Let's see. Jens is going to take his top off. Well, that's he's not on camera, so he can do what he wants. Um, Dwight York, you're a parody, right? There's not a lot of love for Dwight York. I mean, I see, I see that bad. Ronaldinho dropped too. Yeah, Ronaldinho's out. Um, Dwight York's out, and let's see. Yeah, it actually went to the game, so we'll we'll see.
Yeah, and I'm back.
Good, 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 good,
Sorry
good.
about that.
No, no problem at all. People were asking if you were getting undressed, putting the baby oil on. Many, many interesting.
Can tell Tato Mourinho if I win the playoff final, he's gonna get to see me without a shirt,
Oh,
topless.
he's in for a treat. He's in for a treat.
I'm not
Um,
so sure.
let's see. So Swindon Devils. So everyone else has already had the pleasure of seeing the Swindon Devils line up, and hopefully you can see it now
Oh
too.
my
And you can
god.
see that Dwight York is playing. What do you make of Dwight York?
Nothing. I make nothing of Dwight York and I make nothing of Roy Mackay, even though I know he's had some good ratings at that wing back position. But I mean, this
That was
is,
many years ago, I think.
I think he got an 8 actually the first first time he played that right wing back. But I mean, this is the question with the Devils, isn't it? If you put Ronaldinho and Pence out of the team, you put Mackay and York in. For me, no. For me, their 11 are the best in the league, but Dwight York, really?
Yeah,
Not
I
for me.
mean,
I'm gonna go 3-0 Boss 3-0 Bostock here.
well,
I've seen the Bostock.
it's going to be I mean, considering that he's obviously really wants to get points on the board, Fifey, and I know that he kind of places himself down or whatever, but I think he really wants that second place. I mean, of course he would. Anyone would, but I'm not sure if Dwight York is going to be the answer to that. He does have his he does have his preferred midfield back though, so he's got Montero and Novotny at the back first of all, and then he's got Van Bronckhorst, Dyer,
Yeah,
Emerson,
those two,
Gravison, and Ferguson.
Van
So
Bronckhorst and
that is
Dyer
a
are. Dyer has been, I mean, apart from Sir Roberto, maybe the best player in the league this season. He's been fantastic. Van Bronckhorst as well, really solid. Not so much talked about, but I mean, the core of his team is still extremely strong. But I would of course, I would like to see him Pensa instead of York.
yeah, yeah, maybe Ronaldinho instead of Mackay. I mean,
Maybe,
there's a
yeah.
few things that could be made here, but we'll see, we'll see. Maybe we'll be proven wrong. Fifey's made some interesting decisions in the past, and sometimes they've worked out, and sometimes less so. But we'll see what happens tonight. Bit of a brave one, I think, though, to make such dramatic changes against the Bostock Stanley side, who scored what 11 in the last two, didn't they? Or was it 6 and 5 in the last six something against Churchtown, and then 5-1 against Astor,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
it? In the last two, and obviously he's finally getting something out of Zidane, and you'll be pleased to see Eirik Bakke with a starting role on the on the left side of midfield.
Yeah, a bit of a surprising one. I think he came on in half time last time out and got a 9, so
Hmm.
so it's well deserved. But I mean, not one I've used a lot in the game. More known for some kind of dodgy stories in Norwegian football. But I mean, yeah, let's go. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I think with the Bostock Stanley side, what I really like is that he's got a extremely, for me, extremely solid back five behind that midfield, in which he usually is played cold with Kelman Zidane. So he has tons of creativity in midfield. He's got one extremely good striker, one striker that's good out of every 4 or 5 games, and then he'll probably get you 2 or 3 goals. But those back five, Maldini, Lassisi, Neville now, Lizarazu, Milevski, and Tudor they're extremely solid. I really like that setup.
Yeah, I mean, especially Maldini. We saw him with Churchtown when they had him in season one. I think he had Maldini, Thuram, and Oliver Kahn in a similar formation, and they were kind of hard to break down with those three at the back. Especially Maldini season one is very very strong. So we'll see how it goes tonight with them. Um, your prediction for this one? Um,
3-0 Bostock.
3-0 Bostock. Well, there's a lot of love for Bostock Stanley tonight. They're making a late push for it, and I think they've got a home game again. They played you in the last game, don't they?
Hmm.
A home game. Yeah,
So I'm
yeah. Well,
quietly hoping for a couple of injuries as well.
yeah, well, we'll see, we'll see. Right, I can see there's a bunch of predictions in chat as well. A couple of big home win predictions. Dimple is backing Fifey, and most of the other votes are going for the home side. But let's kick this one off and see if Bostock can continue their impressive goal scoring run, or if the Devils can put a stop to that. They did manage a clean sheet last time out, Devils. So a little bit of form on Seb Frey there with his MOM in the last one. But let's have a look. Five who predicts Zidane to come back to haunt him after a couple of unsuccessful years with the Devils. But we'll see. I mean, he has been involved, but yet to score. Novotny picks up a yellow, and
Ah,
there is Zidane. Well spotted, Fife. Good prediction there. Um, I mean, that's going to be it's going to be a little bit ironic if it's Zidane who's going to be the head executioner in the game against the Devils here. Well, and that's
Dan's going to be a match winner in the final, isn't he? After all the shit he's been taking this season.
Yeah, he's slowly but steadily approaching a 7 average. I mean, fair play to Scott for insisting playing a player that's averaging 6.5 until I mean, I know there are people that kind of these kind of people that play themselves into form that maybe I mean you don't really see them these days because football has changed obviously, but I'm sure that back in the day we could name many players who were like especially like some of the Danish players for sure that were genuinely appalling the first 3 or 4 5 games of the season because they were so unfit, yeah, and they kind of played themselves into form.
Yeah, but I
If
mean, then your agent has been doing a really bad job if he sends you to Australia, where you play like half of the amount of games you play in England.
Yeah, but it looks as if it's worked. It looks as if it's worked for Zidane. It only took like 13, 14 games. Fairly even second half. Sorry, first half. Four shots, two on target for each. Devils just doing a little bit more, and it was Zidane. Direct free kick as well. So well done. Through the wall even. Poor defending there. Poor wall placement from the Devils players. Van Bronckhorst and Novotny already on sevens. Emerson surprisingly down on a 5. I would have thought a little bit more of Emerson. What do you make of the first half of the Devils there? Dwight Yorks had 2 shots, neither on target.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that they've I thought they've seen even less of the ball. So they've been in the game. I didn't see the action zones.
Mm. Yeah, I mean mostly in the middle of the park to be
Yeah.
completely honest.
No, I think for me it looked more Bostock than half. Uh, Devils rating they're not so. I mean, it's not a. He won't be pleased with that. Emerson getting a 5. It's Gravesen doing the work in midfield. Yeah, I think he would have liked it to be Emerson. A little bit more quality. No offense to you, being Danish.
No, no, no. Thomas
Um,
Gravesen is not. He's not really a player you can assign a position, as many of his managers would attest to. He's not really a player you can assign a position to. You kind of just throw him in and
yeah.
tell him not to go too far away from the middle, and then hope for the best. But very very effective if on his day, and
I
quite
mean,
ineffective when it wasn't his day. But yeah,
when he played with Lee Carsley and Everton, I mean, they were like twins. They were all
yeah.
over the place, both of them. Two ball twins. I mean, it was fantastic. No, Dwight York, two shots, none on target. That's not really surprising.
No, he gets pulled as well. I've seen Fifey already there
Yeah.
saying
So
Impensa comes
now,
back on.
so now he has a chance to turn it around.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Quick look at the Bostock Stanley, Andre. Again, I mean, we can't I can't keep calling him the unsung hero because he did an amazing job in the second half of the season for Chudley Cannons last time out for Scott, who brought him in, and 5/8 it in a row. I mean, I think he had one bad game all season, hasn't he? So yeah.
He's spectacular. I mean, I've never had him in the game, and I mean,
Mm.
apart from Bates, I think probably the keeper of the season. So
Yeah, no one,
really
when
impressed
Scott
with him.
brought him in last season, no one, it was literally Scott and I were just trawling through for, if I remember rightly, Scott can correct me in this if I'm making this up, but he had some terrible keepers because Tim, the previous manager, thrown had thrown a fit and sold his keepers because he was angry at them having terrible performances. So he was left with Sander Westerveld and some nobodies who didn't do anything. And Scott and I spend as you all know, that I'm more than happy to help with scouting and support. But now you can't buy players from outside the league, so it doesn't matter. But when we could, yeah. So and we eventually landed on this guy, and Scott was like, yeah, I'll definitely take a chance on him, and it's worked out. And now he's a Super League regular. But anyway, enough about him. Zidane got the goal. Do you think Impensa can make the difference in the second half for the Devils?
Yeah, he could. I think it looks like Milevski put in a good shift there as well. It's one of my definite favorites. So,
Mm,
but yeah, I still root for Bostock here. I don't root for them. I want the Devils to win, but I still think Bostock are gonna take it. But with Impensa on the field, you never know. I mean,
that is
he's
true.
have they done the drug testing yet?
Yeah, well, I think after like the 7 games without a goal, I think people decided it wasn't really necessary, but we'll see that it worn off. The effects had worn off, but let's see. Let's kick off the second half and see what happens. Obviously, an early goal. Oh, it's Igor Tudor who and Dennis Milevski.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if Mpensa can do anything, but it looks as if Bostock Stanley just went nope. That's not how it's going to be. Oh, Gary Neville picks up an injury though. John Welch, the famous central defender, John Welch is coming on.
It's
Let me
probably
just.
gonna play Tudor there,
Yeah, I
don't
was
you
going to
think?
say. I mean, that's what I would do. Let's see, where is he, Gary Neville? Scott, are you around? He says unchanged. We can swap Welsh and Tudor for the last couple of minutes if you fancy it. Yeah, there we go. And the last 8 minutes coming up. The last five.
Looks like
Last
Matrino
three.
are gonna go in, maybe.
I mean, it could be. I mean, it looks a lot more like a fourth than any kind of consolation for the Devils, didn't it? Um, yeah, one-way traffic in the second half. Um, Devils had one more shot on target in the second half. Bostock with another five there. In terms of the action zone, it was still fairly even. Devils actually had more of the ball in the second half, but it just didn't really do enough with it. And Penta with the shot, with two shots, one on target, didn't really work out. Van Bronckhorst with an 8. If Van Bronckhorst, I mean, no disrespect to Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, he's a good player, and he did score a fabulous goal against, who was it? Anyway,
Spain, maybe.
against Spain, maybe in the World Cup, that long from like
Yeah, I
out on
remember
the
it.
side, very very good shot. But when Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is your best player on an 8, you've not had a good day, have you?
No, I actually I really rate him. I think he's really good in the game, but he's got real reason for concern now. I mean, the performance he put in here and the form he's shown the last few matches, it hasn't been great. So he'll quickly need to turn it around, and I think the best way to turn it around is to put your best players in the team. why didn't Ronaldinho and Pensa play now? I think even if he feels deep inside that he's already made the playoffs, why wouldn't you go into the playoffs with confidence?
Yeah, and even if your players are slightly out of form, I mean, as we've seen with Sedan, maybe sometimes the best way. Would you play? You know what I mean? Would you play an in form, Emil Impensa every game? Yes, of course. If Impensa drops, would you play and kind of an unknown quantity of Dwight York or Kevin Phillips or someone like that, or would you stick with Emil Impensa and hope that he turned the things around?
No, I would stick with him. He scored 100 goals in the first 10 games.
Mm,
I mean, you have to earn your trust. What's the point of trying out Dwight York? You're never going to play him in the playoffs anyway. You're going to play him Pensa.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
just
yeah,
turn it around
yeah.
is what I would do.
And if we have a look at Bostock Stanley here, only if you can call it a concern, the only issue maybe for Scott was that his front three or his Smith, Vieri, and Riquelme, they didn't really do a lot, but the rest of the team very very solid, as you said there. The Milevsky, one of your favorites there. Zinedine Zidane got an 8. Obviously that should be him up on a 7 average now. Tudor getting a 9. Lisa Rasu, who was very very good for Valen in the previous iteration of the Super League as well, on an 8. Um, I, I know they've been below the line for a bit, but should they be considered contenders all of a sudden, Bostock, with the form that they've picked up here?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're looking extremely good. I'm petrified of playing them the last game away from home, and again, again that back five it's just so solid, isn't it? And not only solid, but both Tudor actually and Lizarazu. Lizarazu's been brilliant all season. They both chip in with goals and assists. I, I don't know if Lastisi is back for the next match. Um,
Oh yeah,
because then the injury doesn't matter anyways because Lassis is going to play there. But I mean, to win 3-0 at home and both your strikers uh, aren't involved, I think that's more a good sign than a bad one, to be
yeah, yeah.
honest.
And still, I mean, 14 goals in 3 games. That's still not a. I mean, I know it's only three tonight, but and it is going down game by game, but it's still a good one. Anyway, we'll move on quickly for the not quickly, but we'll move on for the next game. Let's see what we've got in terms of fixtures. It should be Dragons against Lettersford. So we're 45 minutes in. We've done 2 games. That's excellent. I said I was feeling a little bit under the weather, and it might be a little bit might be a bit of a quick one, but we'll see if we can pick it up a little bit just in case for those who have to get up and go to work in the morning. But let's have a look. We'll take Dragons against Lettersford next. So let's have a look at Dragons. They should be okay. And let's have a look at Lettersford. They should be okay as well. And we'll see just in case. Yeah, it's not a. Oh, Lettersford in their lovely away colours. Definitely not a ghost game. Let's have a look at Dragons first. 14th in the league. I think they've just made one change. I think Mark Kerr comes in for Lee Boyer for this one. I think that was the only change they made for this one, if I remember rightly. Dragons, can they do better?
You know what? I've been listening to these lovely guys that's in charge of the Dragons. My new favorite team after my own. I think they were amazing. Duggan and Wooder at comps. It was a joy to listen. Um, I mean, they've been taking a lot of criticism and putting a lot of criticism on themselves by saying that this team should be closer to playoffs than to 14. I honestly do not agree. I don't like their squad very much. I think they're like two main players in terms of player ratings are Oliver Kahn and Batistuta, and you know a goalkeeper will never be brilliant, consistently brilliant, unless you got Andre in the game.
Hmm, hmm.
But it has been on and off. And he should deliver more than he's done. But for me, this squad is one of the lesser ones in the league. I like the wing backs. I'm not sure if I like them as much in the back four. I think both are good as the DMs, DML and DMR.
Hmm.
I don't like the center backs very much. Khan has had a blinder this season. The central midfield is is kind of meh. Like Fife said earlier in the season. I mean, Seedorf is decent. Didn't play much. Kerr, I don't know at this level. Alessandro is a couple of years too young. Celias is good. Archie back, I know he gets a lot of love from the Super League community. Is not my favorite player. So, I mean, 14th, maybe not, but for me, they have one of the three worst squads in the league.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to argue with it considering the position they find themselves in. I'd perhaps thought that some of the players would have done a little bit better. I mean, uh, according to CM Scout and Alf and other experts, Ronnie Johnson is one of the best central defenders at the in the beginning of the game in terms of his attributes, but he's not been playing that well. Taribo West, I don't think he's bad, but his passing is not particularly good. His off the ball is not particularly good. Um,
I don't think he's of course he's solid, he's decent, but for me he's not top class. I don't think any of his defenders, central defenders, are. Ron Johnson is
mm,
good in CM Scout. I mean, I don't know if you can trust that that particularly much because I mean you look at David Collins in CM Scout and he's probably the worst player in the game. So for me, I'm not a big fan of the squad.
Yeah, I mean it's really what you do with them as well, isn't it? Where you put the players and what arrows you put on them and things like that. And as much as we go on about what players are good in certain positions, there are obviously maths behind this. I don't want to destroy the illusions for anyone, obviously, but there are obviously maths behind this. So there is some kind of
Yeah.
logic to their performances. But they're up against a Lettersford side who I think, as you pointed out there in the beginning, they are probably the form side. I kind of like their kit though. I must admit the colours are quite nice. The form side of the league at the moment, Simeone comes in central midfield. I think that was one change that he made. I can't remember to be honest. But a difficult game for Dragons facing a Lettersford side that's in top form at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I just to point out that there was no criticism towards the Dragons manager trio.
Mm,
It was more of a, I don't think you've done as bad as you believe yourselves. I think what turned Leathersford seasons around was the change up front when they put Morientes out and brought in Montella and Torres. They ticked right away, and I think I mean they've been dominant since they did that move. Uh, so yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one for the Dragons, of course. Vogel, Simeon. I mean, this is a really good side, this Leathersford side. So yeah, I'm gonna yeah, Leathersford will have to be favorites here.
Yeah. Any predictions for the result for this one in chat? Obviously, more than welcome as well. As you mentioned there, Johan Vogel has definitely been been one of the best players of the season for them. 8.09 average, very good. Lee Chun So, who was another one of Chudley Cannon's finds from last season. I mean, I think he was a little bit more well known, but hadn't featured in the Super League before, and is definitely very good in season two. I mean, he's not been perfect, but he's done a pretty decent job. Robbie Keane,
Hersey at wingback as well. I mean,
yeah.
he's young and he's probably not a wingback, but I mean, he's the if you keep winning, then you don't change it, right?
Yeah, and he's got the Robbie Keane as well, who all followers of Super League know is like this kind of like a hit and miss player. He'll either score a hat trick or he'll do nothing in the Super League. That's been his history anyway. We'll see if Fernando Torres can continue his good run. Your prediction for this one, Jens? An away win, home win? What do you think?
I would like Dragons to get a point here, but my heart says Dragons, but my head says 3-1 Leathersford.
We'll kick it off and we'll see what happens. Dragons have had results, obviously, throughout the season. It's not as if they've lost every single game, but it's going to be a difficult one for them, and not in the greatest of form, obviously, having lost a 2-0 at Northern Burn last time out. Let's have a look and see what Lettersford can do up against the Dragons. We'll put the commentary speed back up to something reasonable. Oh, Fernando Torres injured just 5 minutes into the game.
That can be huge.
That could potentially be huge. I mean, Fernando Morientes is not the worst replacement to have, but that's a difficult one. I'm going to put Morientes on there unless Hodgie comes in and says something.
Could be
Uh,
Robbie Keane though.
Yeah, he's got Robbie Keane as well. Oh, he wants Robbie Keane. Okay, he's had it with Morientes. Okay. Well, let's see what happens if Robbie Keane can come in and do something. Be a joker. You'd expect to see Robbie Keane in that AMC role more than up front, but I guess he can do a job in both positions. And there's Batistuta. That's someone
Batty goal.
who knows the way to the net, and he finds it, puts Dragons 1-0 up.
Nice to see he hasn't been released yet.
And there's Robbie Keane coming on for Fernando Moriente, sorry for Fernando Torres, and immediately getting involved in the action and equalising for Lettersford. Oof. I mean, good chances for both sides, to be honest. I have to say the Lettersford colours are pretty spot on.
It's a good half of football. This.
Very much backwards and forwards. Good chances for both teams. Montella with a big chance right there at the end. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It was definitely a busy first half. Oof, there's a good keeper in the Lettersford goal today. I mean, 7 shots all on target, and he's only conceded one. And not a bad display down at the Dragons end either, with 5 shots and only letting one in. Um, Lots of possession for the Dragons, but fairly even distribution. Have a quick look at what happened there. It doesn't. Oh, it just came off the field injured. Didn't really do anything. Batistuta with had his shirt pulled by Volodenkov. Another direct free kick. Lettersford, not a direct free kick. Let's have a look at Lettersford. First of all, what happened to Fernando Torres? 42%. So probably it's going to be okay in a week or two. Um, yeah, I mean, they recovered well from losing Torres early on, didn't they?
Yeah, Torres probably skipped the warm up, didn't he?
It's
Was injured
possible.
for 5 minutes. I've never done that in my 20 years of playing football. But yeah, I mean, they recovered. They recovered all right. I think they got. Butt has been. I mean, Butt has been solid in goal. Other than that, the Dragons had the most of it. I don't think Haji will be too pleased about that. But I mean, they're still very much in the game, and Bichonsu and Montella's getting the shots, and Robbie Keane. So I mean, the right players are getting the opportunities. So hopefully for them, they will stick one behind Oliver Kahn in the
Yeah.
second half.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'll see if Haji wants to make any changes. Duggan says as is from us, so we'll leave Dragons as they are. We'll have a look at their performance. Taribo West, who we were slacking off at the beginning, getting a 9. Oliver Kahn on an 8. Batistuta on an 8. I mean, it's good to see that it's Batistuta getting the chances, as we pointed out in the first game with the Haggis Hunters, and as you mentioned there, it's really important that it's your strikers who have the shots, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit, and Oliver Kahn as well. I mean, since there was talk about him him being released, I think he's been actually been consistently very good. Yeah, look at that, nine
Yeah,
eight
he's
eight
a
eight seven.
good average there.
So yeah, so he's working his average up, and I think it's kind of the same case as with Alf. I want to talk a little bit about that when before my game against Alf, but
Hmm.
yeah, when you have a player of Batistuta's quality and he doesn't deliver good enough, instead of, I mean, instantly trying to find a way to replace him, isn't it smarter to try to look at what you can do to put him in the right positions and to play him better?
Yeah.
I mean, if he 4 shots in the first half, he's gonna get you a goal. And he did that now. So, but this game is still very much alive, so it will be really interesting to see what happens in the second half.
Yeah, quick change there. Sorochinski comes on for Simeone. So we'll see how that impacts Lettersford. I think he's worried about the red card, obviously. So we'll see how that changes things. And if Lettersford can find a way to win this one, it's obviously quite important for them at this point of the season. To keep the pressure up on the top teams, especially with the Devils losing. So let's have a look and see how it goes in the second half. It's been a little bit of the same, but a bit more quiet, I think, in the second half so far. But still with a good even split of chances.
And Dragons are on top here, I think.
Yeah, just as I said that. Oh,
Uh,
and that's what happens when you leave people on a yellow. Clarence Seedorf goes off. Guys, what do you want to do? Alessandro over on that side, or just leave it as it is, or what do you think? Duggan, Wooder?
can Archie Bach play there? Probably.
If they want to pull him back, maybe. Who knows? We'll see what they say in the comments. Um, just shift Alessandro over. Yeah, you gotta keep believing there. I mean, they they've got nothing. They've literally got nothing to lose. When you're 14th in the league, you haven't really got anything to lose, have you? So we'll see what happens in the last 20 minutes with Dragons down to 9 men. Arrow on, yeah, the arrow stays on, so that's fine. Good. Well, let's see if Laddersford can capitalize on this advantage. Tries to lob Oliver Kahn. Oh, it's gone to thingy again. They definitely
Yeah.
can. Montella is a scorer in off the post. Lee Chun So wants a part of the action as well. 3-1. Obviously, going down to a two-man midfield didn't have the didn't have the desired effect for the Dragons there, and it's left a lot of open space for Laddersford. Lee Chun So again. That's kind of what he did for Chudley Cannons last season as well. Comes in the second half and bangs in a couple of goals, and everyone goes, "Who is this guy?" Yeah, 4-1, and Laddersford definitely putting the pressure on the teams at the top of the table, up to seventh now. I think second. I think are they maybe even? Are they first? No, they're not first, are they? No, they're a bit 1 point behind Lokomotiv Boston. Laddersford up to second now. Um, I mean, they're just a little bit more clinical, aren't they? I mean, in terms of converting the chances, Dragons with 9 shots on target.
Yeah, I think up to the sending off, I think Dragons were in the game, maybe even on top. So I actually think it was a good. It's hard to say after a 4-1 defeat, but I think it was a good performance by the Dragons. I think the tactic was spot on. I mean, they couldn't have done much otherwise. But, I mean, the sending off against such a formed team as Ladysmith are will probably screw your night over, and it did. But
Yeah, I mean,
Ladysmith, I mean, hat off to what a turnaround. I mean, it's, the results he's had the last 6, 7, 8 games it's absolutely fantastic.
yeah, very impressive. Definitely the inform Sion at the moment. Montella getting the man of the match. I was just having a quick look at their tactic. And obviously, with only a two-man midfield and Vogel and Sorochinsky moving up next to Patsasoglu when they have the ball, that obviously, and these two guys up, that turns it into a five-man midfield when Laddersford have the ball and they're up against two guys on the other side. And that obviously proved too much for them. Let's have a look at the individual stats of the Laddersford players. Strange when you win with 4 goals and not a single player gets a 10. I guess. Vincenzo, look at the amount of shots Vincenzo Montella has had. 7 and 3 on target.
Jesus
Lee Chun
Christ.
So as well, and Robbie Keane with 4. So definitely you can talk about getting the ball to the right players, and he's definitely. I mean that's a key ingredient in Laddersford's success, isn't it? Getting the ball to the right players.
It is definitely. I mean, and I mean, the goalkeeper got an iron as well, so he did his part as well. Um, yeah, I was gonna say something, but I forgot. Yeah, I mean, not only were there were two central midfielders for Dragons for the Ladysmith players to play against, but I mean, D'Alessandro was one of them. I don't think he would defend if it was his life on the line.
With 7 tackling and 6 marking, no, probably not. Putting a zonal marking on all of your players blindly is not always is not always a good idea. But we'll and obviously just one of those things that happens. But as it was pointed out there, actually, when I look at the league table, Lokomotiv Boston have been given a point because it's 0-0 at the moment. Obviously, all the games have been played at the same time. So Laddersford are effectively top of the table now on their hugely superior goal difference compared to Lokomotiv Boston. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, my place first or yours, Greavesy. What are they talking about? Oh well. Anyway, we'll skip the private conversations and we'll have a look at the upcoming fixtures we've got. We've still got plenty of games to get through this evening. We've got Fulchester against Churchtown coming up next. That's another interesting one. Fulchester. I mean, the pressure's on them now with Gazelles winning, with Bostock winning. Swindon are dropping points. This is a game that Fulchester definitely need to win.
It's a must win, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would suggest so. I will just double check. Yeah, I've put Owen in, so that's fine. And we'll check Churchtown there unchanged, so that doesn't matter. Yep, no ghost game here. So we can start by talking about Fulchester and their lineup. They've put Jus Falgarin is coming back in. I think he was either suspended or injured, and he's got Michael Owen starting up top as well, and he's assigned penalty takers. Um,
It's not Michael Owen, is it?
yeah, well, I was surprised after missing the penalty. I'm surprised to see that Michael Owen is starting, but apparently so. Apparently so. So yeah, what do you make of Fulchester's lineup? Do you think? I mean, Churchtown is a. I know they've had a bad season, Churchtown, but they're not an easy side to beat. Do you think his midfield has enough there? And with Valgarin coming back in, I mean, I know he's not highly rated in general, but he has had a pretty good season. Do you think they'll have enough for tonight?
It's like that old saying, isn't it? Football is a game of 22 men, and in the end, Germany wins or something like that. It's the same with Fulchester. They're always going to get the win. If they
Yeah.
need to shithouse it, they're going to shithouse it. But I mean, I look at that lineup, and I have some. I mean, I think the main reason why they haven't won that many games away from home is that their central midfield is very, very offensive, very attacking.
Hmm.
Uh, I know he's looking for a right midfielder, and if he gets a quality right midfielder and maybe a even better striker, then I mean this is a very, very good side, and I of course back them to win tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, he's still got Igor Biscan on the. I mean, if you can, I mean, I know, and maybe he's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's done a very good job in the Super League in the past. And I think if you can afford to leave Igor Biscan on the bench, then you've definitely got some reasonable options. I think many clubs would be quite happy to start him. I know Nicky Butt is a brilliant player as well, and he is obviously only playing with one DMC and no wing backs, so there isn't really space for Biscan, but he could easily play in that central defender role as well instead of Valgarin if he was to get injured or whatever. So he's definitely got options. Rossini, who's not everyone's cup of tea, but he can score goals as well. Vasiuk has had a pretty good this season in terms of goals anyway. I mean, but yeah, as you mentioned there, maybe a bit of a better striker, and then
Can you?
he could be an even better side.
Sorry, can you just press on Rivaldo for 1 second?
Hmm. Wherever he is, why can I not see? Oh, there.
Yeah, all right.
He's not really delivering anything. He rarely is. I mean, he's one of those kind of enigma, not a little bit like Zinedine Zidane, isn't he? It's not one of those that. I mean, if he stays in Barcelona in the game, he can easily win Player of the Season for 10 years in a row. But not 10 years, but in the beginning, he can easily do very very well. But we've not really seen him light up the Super League, I think. Um, Churchtown unchanged. They obviously lost last time out, as you know. 4-2 was it or something like that? Anyway.
Yeah, 4-2. I think I think I lost. What was it? 6-2 the game before.
Yeah.
I've to be honest, I've not been in a good form myself. I was petrified of going to play away, and I had to win. And I didn't think I was going to win, but it was a disappointing. To be honest, it was a disappointing performance from Churchtown. Could have been more. I don't think they're in
Oh.
form at all. I think it would take almost a miracle for them to get anything from this game.
Yeah, I suspect that they might have a bit of an issue here with the tactic file for Fulchester. This looks like, have I sent you the right tactics file? You probably have, and I've probably forgot to add it. So let's have a quick look and see if we can do something about that. Um, in terms of the Super League, it's good that managers are awake because it's not always that the guy in charge of the action is. So let's very very briefly have a look at that because. There is one here at the bottom. Yeah, there was a different tactic file. Well spotted, Maka. Well spotted. I know I've been guilty of this in the past, but it was good that I think we caught it in time. We caught it in time now, didn't we? So we'll put
Was it
that.
sent in? Was it sent in late last night?
No, it was sent in
Is
this
that
afternoon at some point,
the error?
presumably. Or was it
Okay.
last night? No, it was 10 o'clock this morning. It's all good.
10 o'clock this morning. He was awake then.
Yeah, but I mean, apparently so. Apparently so. But we'll we'll jump in and do that. We'll do that quick tactical change. So apologies for that, Mark. We'll get the right. We'll get the tactic on here now. It should be called Fulchester Churchtown. That one. Presumably players are still in the same position and everything is apart from that the same. There you go. Right, things are fixed. Only the best service in this league. We have to win this game, biggest of the season. Well, at least you've got the right tactic on now. That's always gonna help you. When did the wheels come off for Churchtown for you? Because they had a very good start to the season. Tomadera was scoring goals. Everything was looking rosy, and then. I don't know. Did anything happen, or was it just did they just have a run of easy fixtures, or what do you think the thing was?
No, I was impressed with that run of fixtures. I think Tomadera and especially Okorunko were the main, and Zanetti, of course, the
Hmm.
unsung hero Zanetti, who afterwards. But it was for me, it was a matter of time because for me, this team is maybe even worse than the Dragons team. I think maybe this is the worst or second worst for me squad in the league. And I mean, he was in the playoff. I mean, he could have joined the fight for playoffs if he didn't turn to very bad form the last four or
Mm.
five games, and that would have been extremely impressive for me because I do not fancy this team very much, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean William Viali. I mean
I got,
he
got him
doesn't
from
look
me
bad,
actually.
but I can't say that I have ever heard of him in real life or in the game.
Think I swapped him for Costan, so he was obviously going to go with Lehmann in goal. So that
Yeah,
happened.
that's true. Yeah, well, I mean they've just not delivered
I
for
mean,
him.
he's got some quality there. I mean, Zanetti is undoubtedly a quality player. Aymar has been shit this season. He should deliver way better than he's done. Tomodaira is a hit and miss because I mean, he's like Tsigalko, isn't he? He can, in a home save, he will get you that 40, 50 goals. But I mean, he started brilliantly, but he's turned completely off.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of world class quality otherwise
yeah.
in this side.
Mendes da Silva. Maybe in a season or two, some of the players will come good. Maybe he'll do some. Maybe he'll do some deals. He has got kind of half decent players on the bench as well. I mean, they've just not performed for him. That's another thing. As you say, Aymar's not performed for him. Dhoni's not a bad player. Brett Emerton is not a
But
bad
yeah,
player.
I would like to see Emerton more often in there. I mean, isn't Emerton a better DM than Mendes da Silva the first season? For me,
Yeah,
I think he's
yeah.
better wide, but he's definitely a good job centrally as well.
But if you look at him, apparently, according to everyone, he's the assist king and dead ball specialist and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, and he's played 8 games, come in 8 games, come in two as a sub and 690 and not a single assist or anything. He had an assist in a Continental Cup game and that was about it. But anyway, your prediction for this one, Fulchester at home, is going to be difficult to bet against that, isn't it?
I'm gonna go 2-0 Fulchester.
2-0 home win. Let's see what anyone says. There's a lot of love for a home win in the comments as well. Not a lot of backing for poor old Kieran and Churchtown Massive tonight. But let's kick this one off and see how it goes for Fulchester as they take on Churchtown. Um, Churchtown, who's conceded 10 goals in their last two, and they face Fulchester away. Vasiyuk with the opener. Um, that's not really the game that you wanted if you're in a tricky spot to play Fulchester away from home. Looks as if it's pretty much all Fulchester, but they're failing to kind of put it away. Just had the one goal so far. Yeah, it stays 1-0 at half time. One-way traffic, I guess, for pretty much the entire first half. But a little bit of a concern maybe for Fulchester that they haven't been able to put up a second goal so far.
I wouldn't be too concerned. I think this is what he's been doing the whole season. I mean, he's winning at home, and I personally can't see anything anyway back in it for Churchtown. It would have been to Madeira, just going completely to Madeira in the second half. But Colchester they're so solid at home. So I mean, Jens Lehmann is their best player, and no one else has really performed. So it doesn't bode well for the second half, does it?
Yeah, if you're a defensive midfielder who's on a five, is your only player who's had a shot in target in the first half, then you're in a dark
The
place,
only
to
player
be
that had a
honest.
shot at all, to be honest.
Yeah, in a bit of a dark place. Fulchester, just grinding it out as you say there, 1-0 easy. We can maybe expect a little bit more from Ryan Giggs in the second half. Not that many key passes for their players, but solid enough performance. Eight and a truckload of sevens there. Vasiyuk with the goal. Michael Owen not scoring. Any kind of changes that you've got, Maka, then please let us know. I'm not sure if Kieran's around. I haven't seen him, so we'll see. Um, anything to add in terms of Fulchester, their performance? Any players that you expect a little bit more from in the second half? Who do you think is going to be the man behind it if anyone's going to put it beyond doubt early on?
Veron for me, I think Giggs is brilliant, but he's up against one of the best right wing backs in the
Mm.
game. I'm there when I played Fulchester last time myself, just to like nullify him, and that worked well. And I think Sanetti is capable of doing the same. But he's got, I mean, it doesn't help you too much because he's got threat of Veron, Scholes, and Rivaldo essentially. He's got two strikers up front, so I mean, this team can score goals, and they're also at home at least also very very solid.
Yeah, well, we'll see in the second half. We'll see if there's a way back into this for Fulchester. Oh, sorry, for Churchtown, or if Fulchester's gonna take this one nice and easy. Tomadera had a chance there early on in the second half. I mean, they are technically still in it, even though it doesn't look as if they're creating that many chances. Rivaldo trying his best to play someone in. Giggs trying with a cross, and there's Michael Owen of all
Michael
people.
Owen
Yeah.
paying
Paying
back the confidence.
repaying his manager's trust in him. I think, Michael Owen, I think with the assist, but it was disallowed for offside there. Michael Owen, obviously, after missing that penalty and jeopardizing the team's playoff chances last time out, has come back to repay his manager's faith in him, and they it ends up with a win here for Fulchester, 2-0 victory for them, and yeah, as you mentioned there, Fulchester at home, it's you really don't want to go to Crompton Oaks Park if you need a result, because I think that's 10 or 11 they've won at home this season out of the 13. So yeah, it's been pretty solid from them at home, and definitely a bit of a fortress they've got there. As you can see there, Churchtown had they didn't have anything really. Jens Lehmann did his best, get a 9. Everyone else, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've got anything to add to that performance from Churchtown.
It's to be honest, it's no disrespect to Kieran or anything, but this was like this was what I expected. It's a Fulchester side that's extremely good at home, and it's a Churchtown side completely out of form with lesser players, in my opinion. So yeah, like expected. And I think I said 2-0 before the game as well. So
Mm, yeah, I mean, solid.
well,
Rivaldo, man of the match, somehow without an assist or a goal. I'm not sure who he bribed for that, but anyway, he did an okay job, and that's what you want. A steady. When you just need a win, you just need a win, and you just want no one to screw up. Everyone's 7, 8, or 9, and a couple of goals, and they've gotten it. And Rivaldo's obviously done his part, and the goals from Vesio Gano and 2 goals from your 2 strikers. I mean, you can't really ask for more, can you?
oh, he'll be buzzing.
And
I think yeah, he's got Alf the last game, but I think if he gets, I think it would probably be enough with a draw there. So yeah, he'll be pleased with that.
Still not mathematically safe in the PL places. Well, we haven't seen Sloss play yet, Maka, so I think they're in seventh before going into this one. Gazelle's obviously won, so I think maybe they can still. Well, we'll have a look. We'll have a look at what happens here later on this evening, and we'll have a look at the table at the end to see how it goes.
It's
Next,
turning into a really shitty round for me, isn't it?
well,
The
everyone's
team that
doing
didn't want to win.
everyone's doing a good job. We're going to move on. We're going to have a Lokomotiv Boston against Dudley Hill coming up next, I think. So let's have a look at the boys. Cesar Malman manager. We've got a new joiner in the comments. Welcome, Cesar. Welcome to the Super League community of ill-adjusted people. We have got in our next game, we've got Stephen Wright and his Dudley Hill side. Let's double check that. He's got Nick Barmby. Nick Barmby is starting for Dudley Hill.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I make of that. It's probably best if I don't. Probably best if I don't comment on Nick Barmby, because he'll probably do a brilliant job. I think the Pinks, yeah, he's definitely got the right tactic. So we'll continue. John Otaka has been set as a specified set piece taker, but not in the first. Right, okay, fair enough. Let's pretend I didn't see that. Lokomotiv Boston. Let's just have a quick look. Greece's side here. He's got Franke, and I think that was one of his changes. Um, Kalat's on that one. Yeah, I think I've done
Yeah, I
this
think
right.
that's the team. Yeah.
I think I've done this right. Yeah, so let's have a look at Lokomotiv Boston. I feel as if my voice is going. So over to you, Jens. Lokomotiv Boston, sing their praises, criticize them. Effenberg in central midfield. What's We've spoken about it almost every week. How are they getting the results with the team that they have at their disposal? But I mean, it's not a fluke anymore, is it? It's just genuine strong performance.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the that back seven, to be honest, Bartes has been brilliant, but it's so solid. Cannavaro is the Cannavaro we all know, and that like the M4 in front of him is really solid, really strong. I'm glad to see Kalatse playing again. I love him in the game. I think he's not been playing too much, But it was like one of those. It was one of those guys in that Friday night show with Fife that said something really that I really picked up on. Is it's not easy to consistently in this game, and it really isn't. I mean, if you're 1-0 up in a home save, and I mean, so often your goalkeeper fucks up, or and something happens and you drop points. But I mean, the way he's done it in this league with the kind of opponents he plays every week. He just grinds it out week after week. It's extremely impressive.
Yeah, he's definitely doing a solid job at grinding out results. And we'll see what they if they can do that tonight. It'll be interesting to see what Effenberg can do. He started off the season really well, but he's not done particularly well after he's come back. I wouldn't put the arrow on him, but that's just me. That's just
I
me
mean, either he
personally. But
can't run, can he? He's
yeah,
going to retire soon.
I think there was some kind of well, I can't. Well, either way, we'll leave that for another discussion. What the arrows do and what players should have them and what players shouldn't, because then it becomes into like looking at these kind of hidden positions and all this stuff. So we'll leave it for now. But I wouldn't necessarily use that on Effenberg anyway. Let's have a look at the recently much improved Dudley Hill side. I mean, they were down sort of like quickly just down tapping away at the bottom of the table. At some point they've turned things around a little bit, and he's starting to get a few more results out of them. Stephen. And yeah, would you? I mean, a strong enough lineup, isn't it? I mean, Barmby perhaps completely inappropriate, but apart from that,
Yeah, listen, I got tons of love for Steve. I think he's one of those who he puts more time in this game than anyone. I think. I know he cares a lot about the league. Um, I do like his team. I think the tactic he put up now is decent enough. Nick Barmby, he tends to have one of those like crazy choices. Nick Barmby he did well when he came on last time, but come on, it's Nick Barmby. John Ataka, not for me. I I don't know who he is, but I mean he's got this kind of galactical players that is I mean Crespo, Ronaldo, Carlos, Davids, Tomasi. He's got a lot of top quality players. I don't know if there's any other team in the league that's got as many like star names as he's got, but I think what he's got behind that is probably not as good. I know he's been using Tony Adams a lot this season. He's probably done and dusted for next season. I know people saying, yeah, he's got it's Kufre and Rustico. For me, season two next to Ayala, not so sure. Ayala is good. I like him, but I don't think he's like top class. So I think he should be looking to strengthen the central defense.
hmm
RK is also someone I'm not completely sold on. So he's got a couple of positions to look to strengthen, and I mean he's got so many star names that it shouldn't be any problem for him to go out on the market and get a deal done. But I think he's not far away from assembling a top squad.
yeah.
So it's just about trying to the way it looks now. It almost is like it's too much pressure on Crespo up top, being a star man, and it's a little. I see a little too much weak links around the team. But I mean, he's he's using a lot of time on it, and he's definitely he knows what he's doing. But I think for
Mm.
me, it's a little uneven in terms of the quality of the players he's got.
Yeah, yeah, I can see what you mean. I mean, I mean, Nick Barmby. I mean, okay, fair enough. We'll see what he does tonight. I mean, it was lucky for him that he found out that Andrea Massantini is probably his best goalkeeper. He certainly had
Yeah, he's
some
been really
keeper
good.
issues early in the season, and the last eight. I mean, I know he's conceded 12, but at least he's had a good average, so he's put in a half decent performance. So what do you think of tonight's game, Lokomotiv Boston? I mean, they can really sort of like. I mean, they can't guarantee first spot, but I think with Devils losing, I can't remember the maths, but I think maybe they can secure a second. I can't really remember, but either way, they can definitely secure a top two spot if I'm not mistaken today. But we'll see anyway. Will they be able to do that? Will they win this one? Do you think, or Dudley?
Do you know? I think. now that they're already qualified, I mean that Dudley Hillside can beat anyone, and I have a feeling that they're gonna get something from this game. I'm gonna say 2-1 Dudley Hill.
Oh, brave prediction there. We'll see if anyone agrees with you in the comments. So far, it's been a 4-2, 3-1, 2-1. There's not been much love for the away side so far, to be honest. But you never know. There might be a few people who'd be willing to back. I just wanted to have a quick look at Ronaldo. Actually, I mean, yeah, best season Ronaldo's had in the Super League. I mean, he's not been particularly good, but it's the best season he's had in the history of the Super League. I think with at least getting some goals and not playing too badly. He's another one along the lines of Zidane and Rivaldo and some of those that I mean they should be do better, but they don't
Michael
really.
Owen. Yeah.
Yeah, but let's kick off the first half and see if Lokomotiv Boston can get 3 points tonight. If Dudley win, Boston could sneak second. Is the comment from Scott here. Mon the Hill. Well, let's have a look and see if Dudley Hill can indeed get a result here. They'd have to get past Stefan Effenberg in midfield. Alex up against Stefan Effenberg. What a midfield battle we've got. We've got here a slightly crappy younger guy against an over the hill German. That's going to be interesting, almost as interesting as this entire first half.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the first
Typical
half
Boston
was
first half, isn't it?
first half was spent with me talking absolute crap about their players. Yeah, Boston, a couple of chances, nothing on well, one on target. Dudley Hill not in it at all. All of the football's been played centre of the park or down in the Dudley Hill end in the house of the house of shit, the shithouser end. Um, Ronaldo, Nick Barmby. Um, yeah, I mean, I'll let you pick over it, Jens, and see if there's anything you would suggest that Steelers different in the second half.
Well, I was gonna say put Nick Barmby off, but what is there to put on? Is nothing there to put on, is it? I mean, he's gotten a lot of tick around. I mean, Crespo is banging the goals for him. So I mean, if he gets a chance in the second half, which he doesn't seem to do in the first half at least, then he could still grab something. But this stinks of a 1-0 Boston, doesn't it? Inzaghi in the 84th minute or something.
Yeah, in the 90th, says Scott, and obviously Inzaghi got that 2-2 draw for them last week, so that's a possibility. He wants Guigu on for who? For Francisco Javier, Fabian, whatever, Francisco Javier Arce, whatever you want to call him.
Ours.
Um, and Lokomotiv Boston, I mean, Dwight York for Nick Barmby. Here's the comment from Duggan. Fair play, Duggan. Uh, Lokomotiv Boston. Anything to say? I mean, you pointed out Kalatz as one of your favorite players. I always liked him in that AC Milan. It was AC Milan he was at, wasn't it? I liked him in that
Yeah,
AC Milan side back in the day. Um,
he's got those two AC Milan wingbacks, hasn't he?
mhm.
Contra and Calazze. They're both amazing if you play with Milan in the game. No, I mean it looks like they're in control. It looks like a Lokomotiv Boston type of match.
Yeah.
They're probably going to goal and win again.
Well, we'll have a look. Not much else to cover in terms of action in the first half. I don't even think there was even a yellow card. No, there wasn't even a yellow card to talk about. So we'll fire away. The second half, we've done the substitution for Dudley and as is for Boston. So let's have a look at the second half and see if anyone can find the back of the net other than the predicted Inzaghi goal. Crespo and Nick Barmby, they can combine to make something. Dudley has definitely been in it more in the second half, if that's any consolation to them.
The
Uh,
fair duo, Crespo and Nick Barmby.
Yeah, I mean, what a combination. You don't see that often in real life, do you? That's one of the.
You don't.
uh, I mean, it's not as
Yeah,
if it
more,
hasn't been.
more and more Inzaghi now.
Yeah, it's not as if it.
Ugh.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, Lokomotiv Boston just. I mean, a little bit wasteful, unfortunately for them. I mean, they're still top of the table. Yeah, they're 1 point ahead of Lettersford now, but they'd perhaps been hoping for 3 points in here. But yeah, are they
Did
in it
Lokomotiv
more?
Boston just got shit out there?
Yeah, it did a little bit. It is a bit of a. I mean, Dudley would almost have had to want it for it to be a proper champion, but it was
A little bit of
definitely.
a shit housing. 3 yellow cards and digging in for a point there from Dudley Hill.
Yeah, solid point for them. I mean, it doesn't really do them any benefits at this point of the season, unfortunately, to pick up a point. But a clean sheet away to the
And a
team that's top of the table
four.
is not, and a four for
Look at Ronaldo. Jesus Christ.
yeah, a four for Ronaldo and a six for Nick Barmby. Roberto Carlos with two shots not on target. Ronaldo with one shot not on target, completing 50% of his passes as well. Um,
Crespo not involved, not
Chris,
having any shots at least on target or on goal at all. But I mean, this proves Nick Barmby he's superior to Ronaldo, isn't
clearly, clearly. I mean, expect him to start next week again. Yeah, Massantini again on form as Megahos says there. Let's see, Emmanuel Petit getting the man of the match. I don't think Greaves you will be particularly happy with this. He would have definitely seen this as an opportunity to collect the 3 points and consolidate his spot at the top of the table. Um, Anything that you think he needs to consider before the final match or before going into the playoffs in terms of player selection? I mean, Inzaghi should really be scoring, shouldn't he? I mean, three shots and only one on target. Amoroso again, bit wasteful. Just a bad day in the office for Boston, or is there something that he needs to address?
No, I think it's just, I mean, just a bad day. I mean, his team is put out to not concede, and they didn't concede, and normally they have 3, 4 attacking players that will one of them usually chips in with a goal, and next week probably Ricardinho is back for Effenberg, and they'll probably shithouse 1-0 win again.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. But I think you're right. I think we'll definitely have Ricardinho back. But let's not dwell too much on this one. Obviously, 0-0, and not that much else to cover. So I think we've got two games left, if I'm not much mistaken. We've got Spartak Sloths up against the Northern Burn coming up next. We have the Sloths side here. Yeah, we've got Del Piero, Guerri, Scali, Coco. Yep, I've definitely got that one fixed, so that's fine. And I think Northern Burn were completely unchanged, if I'm not much mistaken. I will just double check that, just because I had a little bit of yeah, unchanged, please. So that's good. We're good to go. Spartak Sloths. What do we make of Sloths and the sudden implosion of the Sloth side? It was all looking rosy. They were even pushing for second place, weren't they, at some point? And now look at them, struggling, struggling.
I think it's as I said about Churchtown. I think it's a matter of, to be honest, a matter of the quality of the squad. He's basically got two players that's been absolutely fantastic this season in Roberto, who's unfortunately injured,
Hmm.
and David Collins. Those two have been absolutely fantastic. Scally started the season like like a loose dog tackling everyone and being completely insane. He's calmed down a little bit. Other than that, I mean, like people have said all season, behind Collins and Roberto, there's really not too much quality, is it? I still think he's one of the managers of the season for, I mean, getting the team to play how they played. They've been the most entertaining team, maybe next to the Devils.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, and if they win tonight, they still win with a shot. I do like the signing of Totti. I do. I know a lot of people would put him in that Zidane
Hmm.
bracket with players that deliver better than they do, but I usually get a lot from him. I think he's better than what people say in the game, and I do like his style of managing. I mean, he takes a chance on a tactic that no other manager uses. He takes his chance on players that maybe a lot of other managers wouldn't try out. I mean, the Dragons they sold Collins for Mark Kerr, and Collins scores 20 goals in the season. So I have nothing but respect for Rob, honestly. But yeah, without Sir Roberto as well, I think it's going to be tough for them. They could still make the playoffs, but yeah, if they get him back, anything can happen. But I'm not too surprised that they've dropped in form recently.
Yeah, I mean, I think as Maka says there in the comments, he look at Sloth and thinks they've overachieved this year with the squad that he's got at his disposal. Must win for Sloth, says Ryan, considering the way that other results are going, as you pointed out yourself, that a lot of the top sides are winning. Bostock were winning, Laddersford are winning, um, Full Chest are winning. Yeah, so it's really
Gazelle's winning as well.
Gazelle's winning. Yeah, it's really a case of that. I would rather get beat tonight than dumped out on Wednesday. Right, okay, that's Rob's comment. Abiati goal. Well, we'll see. We'll see Sally Hamages. He's got decent players in there, and we'll see what he can do. He's up against the Northern Burnside. We spoke about them a little bit in the beginning already, who've kind of turned the season around. And as you say, they're perhaps, if Sloss have overachieved with the squad they've got at their disposal, maybe Northern Burn have underachieved with the players that they've got. I mean, perhaps maybe barring Udese, but I think he's got probably got some other options as well in there. Sylvester actually plays a decent DC. I mean, certainly in, well, maybe not here, but I've certainly seen him play decently in for Man United in the game itself. Um, I guess they're in with a chance tonight, Northern Burn, of getting something here at Sloss. What do you make of the lineup? I mean, two DMCs though, Van Bommel and Gerard in that MC role. That always worries me a little bit, but maybe it'll work out.
Yeah, that's what I would do if I was him. I mean, after the season going into the market, I would have looked at my team and I would have thought this this is a. I mean, this for me this is a top six squad. Maybe it's lacking one other striker option, and I would definitely have gone out and used one of those. I mean, he's got Gattuso on the bench as well. Used one of those to try and get a more creative attacking central midfielder.
Yeah,
Other than that, I think
as a swap for Van Bommel,
to
like I mean, take either Van Bommel, Gerard, or Gattuso, and see if you could get something a little bit more creative out of that.
yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
I think if he manages to get something like that over the line, I think I mean this is one of the best squads in the league for me, and I'm not surprised that he's turning it around. Unfortunately for him, a little bit too late, but yeah, next season I think Burnham's definitely going to be one to trust for sure.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how they fare in the summer transfer window as well. If any big deals are going to be happening. Do you think Northern Burn can continue their sort of reasonable run of resurgent form here, or is it time for Sloth to turn it around? I mean, they really need a win tonight, don't they, Sloth? So how do you see this one going? Alf says it's a 1-0. Sloth's manager Rob says he's going to lose. What do you make of it? What do you make of the potential outcome?
I think it's about time to tip a Desmond here.
Uh, well, we hadn't had a Desmond prediction all evening, so maybe 2-1 win for the home side, says Lee Dimble. I just hope that Scally doesn't do any. I just hope that he plays really, really badly. That'll make me happy. But anyway, hashtag never Scally. We'll kick this one off. 2-0 to both teams, says Potato Mourinho. So he's with you with the 2-2. But let's have a look at how the action unfolds tonight. Del Piero with the opener after only
Oof.
3 minutes, an unexpected source of goals, I would suggest. Um, Del Piero definitely a player that I would put in the same category as Zidane, Ronaldo, some of those guys
Yeah,
that don't often deliver.
yeah, me too.
Apart from that, not a lot happened in the first half, to be honest. There's a couple of chances here now coming up in 44, 45, 46. Robin with a good chance there, and Scally is injured. I mean, I'm never happy to see anyone get injured, but
Yeah, you are. Come on.
right,
I'll
let's
be, I'll
see.
be,
Let's see.
I'll
I
be
was gonna
back in
put
30 seconds. Sorry.
yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna put Lee Young Pyo in, but we'll leave it up to the Sloths manager to see what he wants to do with this. Lee Young Pyo, we do that. All right, let's have a look. Can we hear the joy in Martin's voice? Well, I don't know. Could you hear the joy in my voice when Neil Scally got injured? I don't know. I don't know. I tried my best to hide it. But anyway, Neil Scally injured because the truth hurts, and Neil Scally just found out how much it hurts. He's down to 64% fitness just by the power of my thoughts. He finds himself in this position. Let's kick this one off and take it up to halftime while Jens goes and collects another beer or whatever the uh, the emergency is. A poor first half, epitomised by Neil Scally's performance. Um, Two shots from either side. Only one on target. Oh my God, I'm being dumped out of the playoffs. That would be quite spectacular if you manage that, Fife. I agree. I don't think it's mathematically possible um, with how the last games are shaping up, but it could happen, obviously. In the top five CDMs on the game comfortably, maybe top three. Rest in peace. Uh, okay. Del Piero with a great chance. Collins with the assist. I think it was. Well, he wasn't credited for it, but oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong side. I'm looking at Northern Burn. Um, yeah, not a lot to say about the Northern Burn first half performance. I don't know, Jens, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, what do you make of a Northern Burns in their first half performance? Not exactly I mean, the game was poor. It was poor. But anything that stands out for you apart from Udisa getting a five, no key passes, Sambrota, the enigma that is Gianluca Sambrota in the Super League this season, 19 in crossing. Why are we not seeing him getting 10 assists for Northern Burn? Do you think?
He's had a bad season, hasn't he? I mean, this is not the Burn we've come to know the last weeks. It looks like, to be honest, Steven, I mean, Gerard, if he just he loses over half his tackles and he loses almost all of his headers, but at least he's putting himself out there. Other than that, it's been a disappointing half from almost everyone, hasn't it?
Yeah, Jogata's one of the one of the better players. He was good for Panathinaikos as well, I think, in previous iterations, and did a good job. I'm not sure if Ian is still around. Gattuso on for Davis. He is still around. Let's have a look, and we'll take Gattuso on for Sean Davis. I think that should I mean, he's not played well, Gattuso. I was going to say that should go without saying that Gattuso should play over Sean Davis, but well, based on form, maybe not, or on historical performances. Let's have a look at the Sloth side. Collins got an assist. Del Piero with the opener there. They've been a little bit better, but maybe not a lot better in the first half. Sloths compared to Burn, but Rob's got to be, if not confident, then at least happy with his performance so far.
Yeah, I think so. I was interested to see how we would do without Roberto. I mean, I like Coco. I think he's a really good player. He's been decent, and I mean, if you get David Collins involved near the goal, then something is obviously going to happen this season. So, and he put out an assist already. So
Yeah,
that's the reason why.
good, good first half for Sloth in terms of their results. Obviously, with only two shots for each side, has not been vintage. So we'll kick off the second half, and we'll see three goals still to come if we're going to end up with that Desmond 2-2. But we'll see how it goes in the second half. There could be still hoping for an Ebisand goal, obviously, but well, you never know. You never know. Second half is underway. Gattuso comes on for Northern Burn. Sloth stayed the same. That could have been a great goal for Northern Burn. It wasn't. Van Bommel picks up a yellow there. Definitely a lot more action from Northern Burn
Yeah,
in the first 10 minutes. Thierry Henry picks up an injury. I don't really think he's got much more choice than just to put Edu on, I suspect.
which is
Unless,
this Celta do or yeah, has to be right.
yeah. Do you want to swap sides, Ian? Edu is right centre. You can swap him with Kessman if you want. I will never understand David Collins in a million years, says Chris McLaughlin. Well,
He's the biggest of the myth, isn't he?
it's an enigma, isn't it? Um, no. Okay, right. We'll leave the message then. And we'll kick off the game again. Another what 25, 35 minutes to play here. Edu comes on for Henri. That shouldn't. I can't see that being an improvement, to be completely honest. So I don't think that's going to increase the chances. But you never know. And I mean, with Robin in that creative role, he could come up with something. But it's going to have to be kind of soon. And it's Steven Gerrard of all people with the goal there for Northern Burn with the equaliser. Sloss looking desperate to find a winner here just before the end. Oh, Ebesan misses the target, and it's a 1-1 draw. My goodness.
That's it for the slots, I think.
Let's have a look. Well, is it though?
No, maybe not.
37. No, Fulchester's only on 40. So I think they're still. I mean, the goal difference is 5 and it's 4. So I mean,
Yeah, they're still in it.
still in it, still in it. Uh, I mean, much better performance from the second half. Northern Burn. I think they had most of those chances in the beginning of the half, and then just had that one shot from Steven Gerrard. Fairly even in terms of distribution on the park. Swindon Devils got a Q. Yeah, well, it was bound to happen sooner or later, Fifey, with the points that you've accumulated. You were over the 40. Much better from Northern Burn in the second half. Not really in terms of the attacking players, but the people behind them. I mean, Gattuso getting an 8 there, doing much better than Sean Davies, Gerrard, Sambrota as well. F- a little bit more of the Burn that we've become used to seeing in the second half, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were good in the second half. I think that substitution was key to that. I have this probably just my brain playing tricks on me, but I have this. I've in when I play home save, I tend to often put one of my best players on the bench just to have the opportunity to put him on at halftime because I think often if you put a better player on than the player you take off, your team will like react on it.
Hmm.
And that's what happened here. Even though Sean Davis has played had a good season, I think often if you put a better player on, then your team will gonna like take it up a notch. And I think that's what happened here.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that when we're talking about squad depth, I think it's maybe not important to have. I think as we spoke about last season as well and have spoken about before, it's less important to have like a squad with sort of even distribution. Let's say 18 players of sort of equal quality. I think is perhaps overkilling it a little bit, but to have, I would say sort of like 11, maybe 12 outfield players that can all like theoretically start. So as you say, you can bring in someone of genuine quality as well. Um, Carlos Gamara, of all people, picking up a, a man of the match award there for Spartak Sloss. And they'll be a little bit disappointed to have let Northern Burn back into it and to be so inefficient as they were themselves in the second half, won't they? I mean, they should really have had this in the bag. Based on early on in the season, they weren't that good Sloss, to be honest. They then had a really big sort of like upwards curve, and now it's gone down again. But you would have thought they would have done enough to secure it, and now it come down to the last game of the season, doesn't it, for them? So
Who they
it's
got in the last game? Do you know?
I can't remember these things. I should probably pay a little bit
Probably
more
an away game.
attention. Yeah, way to Lettersford.
It's a tough one, depending on what Hodge is putting out. But you would you would think he wants to be top two, so that's a tough game for slots.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens in the in the last round. There's obviously still going to be a couple of teams fighting for that position. I'll leave that up to if that's going to be on Wednesday. I'll leave it up to Ryan to do the maths to make sure that we don't spoil the the surprise in the first two games. But we'll see. That could be a problem, obviously, with Lettersford and Sloss. If we save it till the end, that could have all been done by then. But anyway, with we've actually managed to keep to schedule actually. So 14 minutes left and only one game left of the evening, and it's Asta Athletics. So I'll just double check. Um, uh, Wide Arrows version 2. That's definitely the formation that Alpha provided, as far as I remember. So that's looking pretty good. Um, Delvecchio, Boramorta, Shevchenko, Shira coming in. Yep, I think that's definitely the right one. I will double check it though because I'd rather be safe than sorry. So apologies for the wait for all of you wonderful people watching. Let's have a look. Janicetta, Rema, Takinadi. Yeah, that's definitely the right one. And no ghost games tonight. David Beckham has specified and as a set piece taker, but is not in the first 11. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
What did you do? Let's have a look. I can't remember. Did you make any changes?
No, I played the same. Yeah, but just
Oh,
Cordoba
Cordoba
on the
on the
bench,
bench,
and
wasn't it?
that's yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's right.
Okie dokes. Oh well, exciting times now. Who's Vikings at home to Asta Athletic? I'll have a look at the. I'll talk through the Asta side, obviously, and ask you questions as we go. Hypia and Keown. I mean, Hypia is pretty good. Keown, in my opinion, is too old and not good enough. But we'll see what he can do tonight. Takinadi, Rema, Janiketa is interesting. I think it's an interesting. It's a little bit like the Sloth side, almost Alf side. A couple of older guys and some people doing interesting things. Del Vecchio in central midfield. less than convinced. Boa Morte in general, less than convinced. Shevchenko and Shearer, I mean, they should get goals, but they haven't so far this season. That's my honest assessment of the Asta side. What do you make of my assessment? Do you intend to agree, or do you have some alternative views and opinions on that?
In my experience, when you like uh, criticize someone before a game, then they're gonna deliver. So I'm gonna say it's a fantastic lineup. So I
Well,
would just, I mean, he hasn't got Shevchenko ticking, has he? And and he's talking about letting him go and everything. And but when I look to be completely honest, when I look at his squad, he's the only player I would say is like he is world class. And I mean, if you swap him, what are you gonna get for him? Are you gonna get a world class player back, or are you gonna get like two decent plus players in? If I were him, I would rather than actively trying to sell him, I would try to see how can I play him good because everyone knows Shevchenko can be good in the game.
yeah, I mean,
I
it's really, I mean, Scott says, and I mean, maybe it's a bit harsh. Scott says in the comments there, apart from Shevchenko, that's piss on paper, really. It's not the most well-known names, but Rui Costa is a Super League finalist, if that's fair to say, and so is Shevchenko with Valen. They both played a good. A good important had a good important job to play there. Hippie has done well in the league before. There's a couple of unknown quantities. Shearer is a little bit like Owen. He's never really, and I don't think anyone has ever had any luck out of him. I can tell you why. It's because his acceleration and passing is so low. He has got good strength and the other stuff. And for Michael Owen, I think it's the other way around. He has the acceleration pace, but he doesn't have the other two things. His flair is also too low and his creativity. I think that's why he doesn't do well in the Super League, but that's just my personal opinion. Samorano hard done by, yeah, I mean, he had a 5 last time out, but apart from that, he has been pretty good. But let's have a look at the Hools Vikings side instead. And Jens, no changes because you had obviously a win last time out, and some of your decent players. I mean, bit of form here from Tigalco, a couple of eights in the last few games, and he's up on what, 9 goals now, 10 goals, 9 goals. Van Nistelrooy on 11. Nikiforenko starting to come into his own, maybe a little bit as well, but not great. How would you assess your season going into the last 2 games?
it's been it started it started like shit, and then we switched it a little bit up and got the back four to provide some width, and that gave us a like very good run of games. I think we're I think we're where we're supposed to be. Looking at our squad, I think we've got a fairly strong squad. Tigalco's been very much hot and cold, but I just decided that I'm gonna trust him this season. He's gonna play. Hopefully, he'll come even better next season. Van Nistelrooy has been decent enough. I do think I played my best football when I played Thuram out wide. But I had an injury crisis at centre back, so he had to play there. And Saniola's been more than decent coming in, so it's been no point in dropping him.
Hmm.
Um, and of course, having Ndiaye back is a big plus. Without him, I mean, Ambrosini is a solid defensive midfielder, but he doesn't have the effect on the team that Ndiaye has. Couple of, I mean, Gerard and Semak, they hadn't played for a long time when I put them in
Hmm.
last match to up a little bit, and they both did really well. So decided not to change anything up tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
Liverano,
apparently, according to Steve, with a couple of
I mean,
stronger CMs, you could have a title push next season. So I mean,
we'll
uh,
see about that,
the
but I have one coming in.
the
But
Barcelona Gerard, and who else? I mean, Semak. I mean, David Beckham struggled
yeah,
again
we have some things to do in the
in
market,
the
a
market.
couple of deals, and then but I mean, yeah, all in all. pretty happy with the season so far, but I would consider it a failure if we didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, well, we'll see if you can get a win tonight, and that should help you a long way
We have to
towards
win
that
tonight.
towards that objective. Obviously, otherwise it's a little bit the way that the results have been going for the rest of the evening. You should probably have a win here in the last game of the evening. Predictions are 2-2 from Alf. Steve Wright says 2-1 home win. Anyone else has anything to add in terms of a predictions for the results? It's obviously going to be an interesting one. 3-0. A lot of love for the
2-1
home
Aster.
side. 3-1. A lot of love for the home side still. Not a lot of faith in the old guard, in the orange and blue. But we'll kick it off, and well, we'll see how it goes. Co-commentators curse or no co-commentators curse? Which one will it be? Good start. Ruud van Nistelrooy with open to scoring after just 7 minutes. Saw that Del Vecchio from midfield trying to do something for Master, but wasn't to be. Although it's Luis Boamorte, the new David Collins, who equalizes for Aston Athletic. Alf did warn us in the pre-match comments there that he's definitely one to watch. Alan Shearer dived for tried to win a penalty there, and but it wasn't to be. Um, could it be? Oh, yellow card for Martin Keown there just before halftime. Hull's Vikings coming forward there. Wayne Dade loves an Asta game. Wayne Dade loves dishing out the red cards. I will have you know that's what he likes to do. Yeah, Jens, and even a very even first half there. Not really what you would have expected or hoped for, I guess.
No, not at all. I mean, this is kind of the thing with that Aster side, isn't it? They can be pushed over. They can put up a really good fight. Um, we probably didn't get our wing backs involved enough. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
we still in with a shot here. We need to get that goal in the second half.
yeah, Marco Raymer bossing the midfield here with 18 completed passes. A bit of an unknown quantity in terms of Super League history with his 9 creativity and 10 passing. They've got to be pretty short those passes to be that accurate. I was just curious to see how Alan Shearer got that. Oh, he did dive. He got a yellow card for diving. My goodness. Let's have a look at your own side here. A little bit of a lack of creativity. I mean, if you play with three guys in midfield. Gerard, they're getting a second, fair enough, a seven. Same with Semak and Nikiforenko, but you would have hoped they would have a little bit more than one key pass between them. Your wingbacks haven't been doing too badly, but that line of three there in the midfield just struggling a little bit, aren't they?
Yeah, it looks that way. The terrible amount of passes as well to be at home and playing with short passes. It just looks like they haven't been able to like really take a hold on the match.
Yeah, well, that's all to play for in the second. Obviously, Nikiforenko definitely shying away from the tackles there. He's not keen to get stuck in, but you do have people doing the work for him. Not entirely sure why Ndiaye has been left alone to do all the hard work, but Mendes and Lilian Thuram has done a good job. Any substitutions for you at halftime, Jens, or are you gonna leave it the way it is? Astor is
No,
sticking.
yeah, I can keep it as it is.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, we'll kick off the second half and see if Hull's Vikings can get a result here. They've still got a bit of work to do. Well, it won't be Van
Oh my
Nistelrooy.
God.
I presume Pizarro, straight swap.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you never know what's happened. Pizarro has been one of the top scorers in the Super League before. We'll see if he can do it again. It worked out for was it who was it where Robbie Keane came on, and was it Laddersford that he came on? Was it Robbie Keane that came on for them? I think it was. 20 minutes to go, and still no sign of a second. Asta coming forward
Does
now.
not look good. This
Yeah, yeah.
fucking hell.
It's Asta are creating a bunch of chances here. Last chance for Hools here into added time. Yellow card. Pizarro, Tigalgo,
No, no,
no.
no, no, no.
1-1 draw, and you've got a tricky trip coming up to Bostock Stanley in the last game. Perhaps not what the Hools faithful were hoping for here in terms of performance. A little bit of a little bit of a bump in the road for the Vikings. Astor a little bit like Dudley Hill did against Boston earlier this evening. A bunch of yellow cards. really digging in there and a very very strong performance. And Luis Boamorte of all people with a goal and a 7, Hippier getting an 8. No man of the match for him. Yeah, Boamorte's not been bad when he's come on. So yeah, Alan Shearer with a couple of key passes. Nothing too spectacular with only 1 8 and the rest, oh, 2 8s and the rest 6s and 7s, but a strong away performance from Asta. And if we speak with the manager of the home side, you can see Villaseñor gets an 8 and a man of the match award, but you can't be happy with that performance, can you? Really?
No, I can't. I was tempted to switch things up again, but I mean, we played a good game last time out and decided to quit. Very, very concerning with Van Nistelrooy on 19. I think we have to win last game to have a chance now, and that will be very, very hard going up against one of the form teams in the league.
Yeah.
Well played, 12.
Yeah, I mean,
Nullified
Ian,
our threats very well.
Haggis manager Ian has already offered his services. He's one of the teams that have gone unbeaten against against Bostock, so he's already offering his his support and advice. But I think everyone is going to be very interested in see what the league table looks like now. So with those results, we've got Bostock winning against the Devils. We've got Dragons losing to Lettersford. Fulchester 2-0 against Churchtown. Gazelles beating Haggis Hunters. Who's I mean, you're still in six. You're still technically there. Boston with a
What
nil
about the
nil and
points?
and Sloss there. But let's have a look and play some maths here. 4 Qs have been dished out in total now. 3 more tonight. One for Lettersford, one for the Devils, and one for Bostock Stanley. Congratulations, boys, to have the red Q next to your name. And as you can see there are 4 people or 4 teams fighting it out for the last 2 places in the in the playoffs. It's going to be an interesting one here. Um, Fulchester, you would say, in pole position for this one. They're obviously in 40 points. It would take both Gazelles and Sloths. Let's see who Gazelles have. Gazelles play Dudley Hill. Sloths are away at Lettersford. Both of those teams would have to win and do it quite decent, get a decent win under the belt, both of them, for Fulchester to drop out. Um, you've got Bostock Stanley away, haven't you? And Fulchester are
I
all
have.
4 teams away. Are you
I
all
think
away?
Bostock Stanley is. I mean, they've qualified, but I can't see them joining that top two. So hopefully they'll not put their heart in.
Well, it's gonna be interesting anyway. But this is down at the business end where there's really something to look at, and all 4 teams are away. That's gonna be. I mean, good luck with the logistics of this one, Ryan. who you- who do you play first? I mean, it's got to be Sloths, Gazelles, Vikings, and Fulchers. It's got to be in that order, hasn't it? But then you've got Lettersford coming in there as well. That could spoil the party as well. But if we look at that, I mean, they are on +7. Bostock are on +17. They do have by far the best goal difference, so they are, unless they lose, in which case Devils could overtake them potentially, although they are +13. Bostock Stanley, it's a little bit far out. They would have to win by a spectacular amount of goals against you, and both Lettersford and Devils would have to drop points, obviously. So it's kind of between these three for the top 2 spots, and then it's a huge battle for fifth and sixth, isn't it? With those teams being involved there. Um, your chances on a scale of 1 to 10?
You know what? I don't give myself uh, many chances in my game. I don't think we can go there. But looking at those fixtures, I mean, none of them are easy, are they? Gazelles away to Dudley Hill, and Dudley Hill are due a good win. Slots away to the form side of the league. It's going to go down to the last minute, this isn't it?
Yeah, definitely is, and good that we have so much to. I mean, everyone has something to play for. I mean, Lokomotiv Boston, uh, theoretically, they could obviously. Who do they play, Boston? They're away to Northern Burn. If they lose that and Devils win big and Lettersford win big, then Boston drops to third.
Yeah.
It could It could happen. I mean, from eight to first, everyone has someone to play for. There's 8 teams out of 14 that has something to play for in the last game of the season. I think that's a successful season in terms of getting a sort of finding a balance in the league. So credit to the guys, especially to Ryan for doing all the leg work and setting up the squads and making it so relatively even. Ian says he's putting Salas in goal. Who the heck is Hunters playing? They're playing at the Devils,
The
right?
Devils.
Right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Um, last thoughts on the evening's action, and any thoughts for next week.
No, I mean, to be honest, if I drew or won, what it didn't have too much. I mean, Gazelle with a loss in the last match, Gazelle's win, they would have gone past me anyways, and they would with a if I drew the last match as well. So it's not. I mean, I still have to get the job done in the last game. Or
Yeah,
hopefully, I
true.
don't.
Yeah, true. I mean, you
Don't
would have been
lose, but
on 40 points, but you're still the team with out of the three out of you, Fulchester and Gazelle. So obviously, you have the kind of the worst goal. I mean, and if you'd won by one, you would have still had the worst goal difference. Gazelle still have that
yeah,
advantage, don't they? So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And yeah, and as mentioned, hopefully on Wednesday night, it's gonna be a good amount of action. I'll leave that to Ryan and whoever's brave enough to face the commentator's curse and join him. I mean, anyone needing 3 points, so I don't know. It's a brave man to do that.
I think
Um,
Scott's volunteered for that.
oh
Comes
well,
on Wednesday.
yeah. Well, we'll see. We will see. Anyway, with that, I believe it's just gone midnight in Oslo. It's 11 o'clock here, so and we have been going for 2 hours and 5 minutes. So I'll leave it at that. An interesting round of Super League action, a lot to look forward to. As mentioned, 8 teams still with something to play for in the last game. Pax will be out at some point, probably tomorrow, and yeah, hopefully we'll get the squads in, we'll get everything set up, and we'll have a great show on Wednesday night, and we'll find out who gets into the playoffs, who who makes the elusive top two spots, and who sadly has to miss out. So thank you very much, Jens, for joining me. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And thank you for everyone for joining in. And I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be back soon for more Super League action, most competitive and entertaining online football league in the world. Clearly, clearly. Thanks again for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening, whatever's left of it. And we'll speak to you all again very, very soon. Good night, everyone.
Night.